So you clicked on this video because you're trying to find out how to make your naturally aspirated car go that much faster. In this videos, we're talking installs, and you guessed it, more installs. This is only going to be referencing sealed motors, so that means no cams, no nitrous, superchargers, turbos, etc. But this video will be good for my rice can Honda people or my crowd killing Mustangs, and also those beautiful 6th gen Camaros. Realistically, it can apply to anybody, but I'm going to use my 370Z to tell you everything you need to know on how to get the most power from start to finish on your naturally aspirated motor. Let's get into it. So first things first, what you're gonna need to do any kind of NA build is you're gonna need exhaust, intake or intakes, depending on how many throttle bodies you have, and a tune. I'm gonna start by freeing up some more exhaust with my Boosted 6 power pipes. Now, I currently do have Megan high flow cats, but not really the best option. So it doesn't really sound great, and this should help make the VQ tone sound a lot better. This doesn't mean that it's limited to 370Zs or 350Zs. This literally can be applied to almost any car. Exhaust, intakes, fuel. Let's start with the exhaust. Boosted 6 Autoworks sent me out these power pipes, and today we're gonna find out how they truly sound with the 3.7 VQ. For anyone installing this, he explained to me that this is supposed to be like a OEM replacement crush washer, which to put that to the stock headers, that's all you need. And of course it has the gaskets and you can use that, but I'm gonna go off of his recommendation and just use this ring as a crush washer, and if it doesn't leak, I'm gonna run with it. Now, to be extra safe, you can put RTV on the corners just to make sure that there's no exhaust leaks, but yeah, let's get off the Megan ones. And just with every exhaust mod, you have to get the car up in the air. So I'm gonna put the 370Z on some jack stands, push up the other side, and then also once it's up, make sure that it's safe by shaking it, throw it in a circle a little bit, and should be good to go. And also take off each intake. Now I'm only gonna take off the piping, I'm not gonna take off the throttle bodies or anything, and I'm just gonna unplug one side. But this is the demon bolt area that you're gonna deal with. Now, if you have stock cats, this is a lot harder to get to. So you're gonna need a lot of extensions. No need to caress it like this, but I mean, if you want to, you know. And I finally got full transparency, I also took off the bung for the O2 sensor because I don't have my secondary ones. Now let's go ahead and get the Boosted 6 Autoworks power pipes on. I love doing high flow cats and test pipes. Super fun. And just like that, the power pipes are installed. This is what's needed to make the rasp go away on your VQ and actually make it sound decent. God, that sounds like dick, bro. Ugh. So another thing I'm going to point out is the Eternal Performance core support cover. This thing is sick. For anybody who has like an older Model Z like mine's an 09, and I actually cut into it for the VR30 swap, but now it covers everything and it makes everything look just super nice and chill. So not a sponsored product or anything, but I just figured it would be something that a lot of you guys would actually want. I'm going to put it in the description, but now let's get towards the injectors. You do need to make sure that the fuel system isn't pressurized, so that way it doesn't splash you. This has actually happened to Danny Z and I, and yeah, I'm not down to be drowning in fuel, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the fuel in a container. I'm gonna do the most responsible thing with excess fuel. I'm not gonna waste gas, it's expensive, it's just like gold. What's the last time we've used this? Was this for E85 when we were in Carlson? It's been a long time. Let's see if it spills everywhere. Aha. Yeah, go. We're gonna do this 6 more times. See you guys in the future. I'm off to see the wizard, the wonderful wizard of mobile. We need it. That was so. But yeah, I need to go now to the gas station to get some E85. I'm pretty sure there's still a little bit of 91 in there. The fuel pump was like, you know, just giving little squirts like a dude at a urinal that struggles to pee. I'll do like 1 or 2 cycles of I'll like flush it out with this and then do like 1 more cycle of E and then like send John a log. So I'm pretty stoked because when you look at the price of E versus like everything else, yeah, I'm not opposed, but let's fill this thing up. I wanted to give it at least 5 gallons of ethanol so that way it has enough to run and then drive to the gas station. But now we're on to the next step. Day 2. But for real, so this time now I'm going to be installing injectors, because the next big thing, and ignore my addiction, but the next big thing you're gonna need for running the most NA power sealed motor, yet again, it's gonna be fuel. Every car is gonna be different, every platform is gonna be different of how hard or easy it is to get to the injectors, but let's get into it. Now I'm gonna take off the upper manifold so that we can get access to the injectors. Please make sure that you cover up your lower manifold. The last thing you want is any kind of bolt or nut to fall into the runners. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and take out the bolts that hold the fuel rail, and then also there's a couple of clips that you have to take off also. Overall, it's honestly a lot easier than I expected, and I always tell people if I can do it, then so can you. And just like that, the OEM injectors are off, but oh my gosh, they look crusty. So I'm kind of glad that we're doing this anyway, and to be careful, it's gonna leak fuel of course, but let's get the new injectors on. So I have to say a huge thank you to the homie Flash, because he sold me a set of GTR injectors super cheap. And for this platform, I know it's in an ID box and it's kind of like a, what's it called? A catfish? Yeah, catfish. Like when you're trying to hit on somebody that's super hot and they end up not being super not. And I have OEM injectors. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these on, and it's not that hard in this platform. Kind of wish I stuck with the LS because I think it's even easier, but now let's kind of install these and then reverse the process. So now I'm going to install the new GTR injectors onto the fuel rail. I did this one by one to make sure that I put them in the correct orientation, but then also take that Vaseline that you hide for your personal time, grab a little bit of it and put it around the O-ring so that way it can go in and slide easily. This is a lesson in life, gentlemen. Make sure to lube it up. Don't just ram it in. But go ahead and slide them back in and just reverse the install process. Before I wrap everything up, one thing I want to do is test the fuel system. So far so good. Everything looks put back together. Fuel, the hard line's back on, this is back connected. But also the one other thing I didn't talk about was an intake fuel pump is probably going to be needed. It's at least for the 370Z to run E85. You can use a stock pump, but I can guarantee that it will fail eventually. So it's just smart to get a low pressure fuel pump, and then that's it. Injectors, you can go with GTR injectors, which usually sell around anywhere between 250 to 500. Just be careful not to get a fake set because there's a lot of fakies. So let's go ahead and test this thing. It's either gonna work or there's gonna be a whole bunch of fuel on the ground. All right, a lot of you guys know, just for me, just takes a relay. Oh God, here we go. Okay, so far so good. No leaking, no fuel on the ground. All right. Should be good to go. And just like that, we're done. So everything is wrapped up. Of course, there's little things that I need to clean up, like I'm missing bolts for the strut brace, and I need to find that piece. I think I have it in my house, but like the car's not overall clean, but we're done here. So now there's one last very important step. So most cars aren't tuned for ethanol, and it's definitely not tuned for a bigger injector. So now what I have to do is load in the tune that John sent me from Z1. Thankfully, I've had this map for like about a week now. We kind of just stayed ahead of the curve. And now we're gonna find out if my hard work and determination is gonna lead me to success.
This is the worst!
And sometimes things don't go the way you want it to go. Unfortunately, when I was draining out my peasant fuel, I accidentally not killed, but the voltage is too low for me to throw the new tune on. Tiny lady to the rescue, but I don't want to use your G because last time I did that, something happened on the Z, so I'm gonna use the fit. All right, so round two, I'm gonna finally let this thing program the car, and then we should be good to go after this. But super easy, super simple. ECU Tech is one of my favorite tuning like softwares, and let's get this E85 map and then we can finally hear how this thing sounds. All right, ECU Tech is loaded up just in case. Car isn't started. Let's plug in the relay one more time. So round two, did everything get fixed and we're finally ready to run E85 and hear how the boosted 6 power pipe sounds. And this is why you go back and double check your work. Because as meticulous as I thought I did everything, I didn't. I left the MAF sensor unplugged from my passenger side intake. So now that the MAF sensor is plugged in, we're gonna hear how the boosted 6 power pipes sound. very calm tone. Well, it's because it's mixed with 91 and E right now, but, and then back over here, looking all good. Still, nothing leaking. It's time to take this thing out. Man, E85 smells so much better. Also, I'm getting this weird vibrating feeling on my gas pedal, which is definitely something I've never experienced before, so I have to double check that. But overall, I'm like, dude, so far, just tooting around town and stuff, like, it sounds so much more tame, which I like. Yeah, I think the Boosted 6 power pipes, like, bring the perfect tone that you need. But overall, I wish I could have gave you guys also like some dyno readings of before and after and such, but I just don't have access to that yet. I would love to get on dyno and see how much this thing makes, but I need to pull up because I am super low on gas. 5 gallons of E ain't gonna get me anywhere. So now I'm gonna do, which I would say would be the final step to perfect your E85 tune. I'm gonna send a data log off to John. So that's the fun part. I get to do a pull, and I'm only gonna do one, so let's make it count. But I will say, dude, this exhaust setup sounds amazing. Sounds really good. It sounds so good. I'm not gonna lie. This sounds really good. But I'm gonna send that log off now to John. But again, just be careful of street tuning, because you know, you have to go all the way through the gear and such, and you just have to find a safe spot. But speaking of safe, I also want to find out what's making the vibration noises and just the noises in general. So I'm gonna pull this thing back up and get it back in the air. And it's honestly that simple. All it takes is exhaust, intakes, and fuel. For every car, it's gonna be a little bit different. Sometimes you're gonna have to put like a low pressure fuel pump and a high pressure one, but thankfully in my car, I don't have a high pressure pump. For anybody out there that's just trying to get the most out of their car, NA, this is the best that you can do without tapping into the world of like cams and like high compression motors and all that stuff. This is keeping it simple, and the best thing about it all, cheap. This format of video was a little bit different, so if you guys are into this, hit that like button, subscribe, you know, help your boy. And also a huge shout out to Boosted 6 Auto Works for even sending me out the power pipes. So far, super stoked. They sound super good. But yeah, I mean, that's it. See you guys next video. Yeah, man, this thing sounds sick. Dude, man, this thing looks so freaking cool right now. Look at the Morimoto headlights. Like, dang, this car is busting, dude. Damn. I know y'all like this car. Ugh, I know y'all see that shadow.